Perfect. Hey guys, welcome back to Jacob V Weekly. We want to start like we do every week by reminding you to check out Caddyshack of Hamel, Illinois, caddyshackil.org. I am joined today for a very special treat by my lovely and elusive and mysterious wife, Keenan. Keenan, welcome to the show.
Hello.
You've never officially been a guest on the show.
No, I haven't.
You want to talk into this?
Okay.
Yeah.
Talking into it.
The closer, the better. I'd like to donkey lip it.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay. It already sounds better, though. You can hear the difference.
I can.
And one of the first reason why we're here is because it's the 10th anniversary of our very first date.
It is. It is.
Isn't that great?
It is.
Is that too loud for you in the headphones?
No, it's fine.
You have control over that.
Yeah.
I could just change it if it is.
No, I'm good.
Okay. And so it's a very special occasion. Any regrets?
No.
10 years down the line?
No, not really.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. I mean, maybe I should have some regrets, but I don't.
One thing that I do love about your wisdom is that there's a lot of people I know who don't know me don't know me before I quit drinking.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? And some of the chaos we used to get into.
Oh, so much chaos.
We are not. I'm having a kind of out of body experience right now.
Why?
I feel like this is weird that you're a real person.
Yeah, I
and
am.
you're here.
Yeah.
It's because you've never been here.
Yeah, I've never been here before.
I'm having that feeling. This shirt is so soft.
It is very soft. It's also very hot.
It's a hot shirt. It's a hot room.
Shirt.
I didn't mention it. Yeah. Feel free to whip that bad boy off at any point.
No, I'm good.
Are you doing the thing Sam does in the airport where he'll just wear a hoodie and then nothing else underneath the hoodie?
No. I have an undershirt on. I just don't want to expose my shoulders right now.
No, I hear you. Who does anymore? I haven't seen my own shoulder in a minute. That was not a command, but I appreciate you so much. Yeah. I always have that guilt. Anytime someone does something considerate, I'm like, I don't deserve it.
No.
Why would you do this for me? Am I getting fired? No, I'm good. Every time I see, this is exactly how my brain works. I went from that conversation to, am I getting fired? I have a text message.
Yeah, your anxiety about getting fired just because you actually took some PTO time is a little ridiculous.
Well, it's, anyway, let's talk about our first date a little bit.
Okay.
That was certainly not our first meeting or our first time even hanging out, really.
No.
However,
we went to high school together.
Right. So where should we start?
I don't know. Where do you start?
So it's the anniversary of the first date. So let's describe the first date a little bit.
We went to Cafe Mochi.
We sat upstairs.
Did we?
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
In that first dining room upstairs. And we had, we were behaving and that I don't think we were drinking there.
No, we went to Carson's later on that
That
night.
was weird. That was
Yeah.
unnecessary.
We met up with Tim.
It was fun. And, who was in our wedding.
Yes.
And, but
He's been on the podcast.
Was that at Cafe Mochi when we had that roll that reminds us of KFC?
I think it was.
I feel like we kind of went whole hog on the sushi order, even that first time.
Well, because that was after you did the bang bang in one sitting at Gingham's in
That's
St.
right.
Charles.
We had hung out the previous weekend, and I made you watch me eat steak and eggs and a whole chili mac, a whole entree-sized chili mac at Gingham's.
I was trying to run away from St. Charles, and the first things that we actually did together when we started actually hanging out was go back to St. Charles.
Yeah. Well, it was Oktoberfest that weekend.
Yeah.
That's a huge deal. Is that this weekend? Did that already happen? It was a couple weeks ago.
It was a couple
happened,
weeks ago.
yeah.
Good. I see. I'm off the circuit. I think I saw O'Fallon Brewery is finally liquidating all their assets. They're done, and they had a really popular pumpkin beer.
Yeah, they had a good run.
They had a great run, and
Over a decade.
But also, we'll get to this. That just the rash of closings in the food and bev industry locally this last couple weeks has been insane.
Yeah, Urban Chestnut, the Armory. Yeah.
Urban Chestnut?
Yeah.
Bankrupt.
Over off Manchester?
Yeah.
Wow.
Filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
That's different. Are they leaving? Because Guitar Center did one of those things, and that's like,
Yeah, Guitar Center does bankruptcy like Donald Trump. I don't know how
Literally.
they're like, just light it up. What are you talking about?
Reorder under Chapter 11.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to reopen up after they go through all the legal stuff. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I've heard is that
That's
they're
crazy.
closing. Yeah.
And you and I have a history of over ordering sushi.
Oh, yeah.
I was really worried on our first date that you weren't going to talk to me.
Well, yeah, that's kind of, that's always been my worry coming on your podcast, that I wouldn't actually talk. I would just kind of sit here and let you talk, which typically works out for us.
But also, and it's just you and me, sometimes you don't shut the fuck up.
Well, that's true because I don't talk any other time.
But I learned that I was already kind of committed by the time I figured that out.
Yeah.
I realized, she doesn't just talk whenever to anybody like I do.
No. I
She
gotta be
talks-
comfortable with you because I can
Yeah.
say some stupid stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing too. And sometimes, you try to guard your emotional reality from your public image in a way that I think is really smart. But I'm also part of your private life. So
Yeah.
I'm surprised you even wanted to do this. Not because you're not supportive of it, but just because, like I've worked in places where there's certain people that work behind the scenes that don't ever really want to have any FaceTime with anybody. You know what I mean? Because they want to be separate from the inner workings of the thing.
Well, that's definitely how I am most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, at work, I'm the behind the scenes person. I'm doing the branding. Somebody else can distribute it.
Yeah.
I'm the one, writing the stuff for other people to say.
Yeah. How come you don't write more for me to say?
Because you got plenty to say already.
Oh, that's so nice of you. Isn't she great?
Beautiful, wonderful.
Lucius, you were in our wedding.
Yes, I was.
And so you've been here for the whole journey and that whole thing. And so
You going anywhere with that?
nope.
I'll tell you my favorite.
Yeah, good.
My
Thank
favorite
you.
Jacob and Keenan moment. I think was probably your proposal.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was like so wonderful, like public, so public.
Yes.
After a concert
On the steps of the Peabody Opera House
Yeah, so
immediately after a
cute.
Queens of the Stone Age show.
Yeah.
Dozens of my friends were there by accident
Yeah,
because they were just at that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty magical.
Jack Lawrence from the Raconteurs and the Greenhorns was in that crowd.
say that one more time.
Jack Lawrence
From the Raconteurs.
and the Greenhorns. He's the bass player.
I have no idea who the Greenhorns are, but
That was his band before he was just in the Raconteurs and the Dead Weather.
he was.
I saw him in the
crowd.
audience. He was like seated in our same section. And then
So there's a chance he saw you propose.
I don't know that he was looking up. He's a little guy. It was a big crowd.
Well, I'm surprised you were able to notice anything because you told me afterwards that you were so nervous.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and this is something that I think anybody who is approaching this kind of experience in their life and that maybe they're nervous about this part, the thing I do to coach myself through that stuff is like the same thing I do when I'm going to the dentist. I've already agreed to go to the dentist. My mom is not making me go to the dentist, right? And I value the benefits of that service. And so even though I got to try to not fart in a chair in front of an old lady surrounded by pictures of her grandkids for 45 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't want to
but you just
disrespect
tell
her.
yourself, do you want your teeth to rot out of your fucking head? No? Good. Then just fucking don't fart on the lady for 45 minutes, please.
I need to know why it's so hard for you to not fart.
It's because of
Right?
it's warm in there. The position they got you in, I could really work some out on one of those chairs at that angle, but I don't. I resist because I want clean teeth.
Yes.
And so it's the same thing when you've planned the perfect proposal moment. You're not going to go all the way up to the precipice and then not jump off the thing with the parachute or the bungee cord or whatever the thing is you're doing.
Yeah.
You're not going to get up in the plane to skydive and then say, you know what, I'll just ride back with you. I think I'm good. I know it was $1,500. I'm just going to ride back with you though.
Yeah.
What if that's not an option? You know what I mean? What if he had another stop to make?
It's got to leap and the net will appear.
He didn't plan on having any passengers. You don't know where he's going.
I was going to kamikaze this right after this.
He said,
That was
actually,
a-
you don't want to go where I'm going. You're going to feel a lot safer if you jump out of this plane. It's one of those things that it was just like I was nervous and I was kind of hesitating. And my friends knew the deal that we were with. And then we had other friends who were going to be there to pick us up because we had gotten dropped off because we lived not far enough away to really have to worry about all that parking.
Well, and the sweetest thing is you asked my dad beforehand. You were very old-fashioned about that.
Very traditional.
Yes.
Well, it was an elaborate wedding I had in mind, and I just wanted everybody to feel included and on board.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so we went to breakfast at the boardwalk in Webster, in Old Orchard there, and had the pancakes and whatnot, and I had a beautiful diamond. Do you have it on?
I do.
Oh, give them some ring action.
Ring action.
The cameras are over
Ring,
there.
Ring.
Give me a little. See, and that was a huge part of our like anxiety, like leading up to that point, is we had kind of discussed like we wanted to get married, and that was a common goal of ours. We were both open to the idea and planning the whole thing. And I'm really picky about jewelry. I don't want to send my lady out there with a disrespectful engagement ring. You know what I mean?
You don't want her shamed.
And it's not gratuitous or like crazy. It probably didn't have to be as much as it was. You know how diamonds are and whatnot. But it's also like defendable. It's not like up in the air. We talked about this on the podcast with your mother in Sedona. That movie with George Clooney.
I've never seen it.
George Clooney and his girlfriend go to meet his sister who's getting married, and she holds a ring out like this, and it's like a flake of a diamond on like a yellow gold band. And like, oh, that's lovely. You know what I mean? Is their response? You're like, oh, well, would you look at that? I think that's what he says. He says, oh, would you look at that? She says, oh, it's lovely. Because it's really like
so modest.
It's not something, that you're used to, especially in this age of social media, people like brandishing, and then...
we were just two kids in our 20s drinking our 20s away.
Yeah, we were. Can you imagine if we had all that money? Because we were still eating too. It wasn't like some people when they're partying they don't spend money on food. We were like, okay, so let's just get 11 sushi rolls so we have room to get drunk later. You know what I mean? Instead of let's skip dinner and just have extra margaritas. It was like no. Let's have 4 margaritas up front and no chips yet. And then we'll have chips with the enchiladas and the chili poblanos and whatnot.
Yeah, you gotta have a foundation.
Well, no, that's the thing. And so we were really... So if we...
Well, it's like the parties we used to throw back then. We threw a good party.
We
always had food and
always
alcohol.
made sure there was food. There's plenty to drink and a diversity. We're not just stuck with all... hard liquor, for example. You got to have some bubbles mixed in. You got to have some sugar-free options. You got to bake some cookies halfway through the day. Maybe the hot dog machine is going.
Yeah.
If it's a big enough party. You forgot about the hot dog machine?
I can't believe I did.
It's missing right now, I think.
Oh no!
My family has my extended family, I'll call it, has in their general custody an old hot dog rolling machine. It's like a heat lamp with a cage, and you just load it up with hot dogs, and you can slow roll like 15 hot dogs at once.
Highly recommend if you're going to, especially if you live
ever
in
see
Dogtown.
one for sale.
Yeah. If you live in Dogtown, you're throwing a St. Patrick's Day party, you have to have the hot dog machine.
Because there's no raw meat, so it's not dangerous. And you can warm the buns on top of the thing and leave buns up there, and you can just set out mustards and chutneys and whatnot. And people are drinking, you get a little too drunk, you make yourself a nice hot dog. You come back to life a little bit, you get fortified. And then you go back and you slam a couple, more glasses of punch and a couple Miller Lights, and you go shoot the gun at the dumpster, and you come back, you have another hot dog, maybe some chutney, Sweet Baby Ray's.
That was the problem with that party too, or that particular one that I'm thinking of, is because I brought out my old Mizzou days and I made a jungle juice type concoction that knocked us out by early in the afternoon.
Yeah, some of our St. Patrick's Day parties, I don't remember anything after about 12:01 p.m. Noon.
Well, because we started drinking at 7.
7, 8, 9. People want to drink before the parade. You got AC in a bathroom or heat in a bathroom, depending on what kind of year it is. And parking. Our street was never blocked off. We were like right on the edge. That house would have been worth keeping just to have parties in that one day a year, because it was the perfect location to be adjacent to everything, because we could walk and get 2 blocks to the thing, to the actual parade route.
Yeah.
But it was angled at such a way that they didn't block our street off. It was like a real life hack there in Dogtown. We lived on, what was that? Brock off of Dale.
Dale.
Dale's a nightmare though to drive on.
Absolutely nightmare.
It's like a alleyway that you put. It's like if you use somebody's alley as an annex for 64 is what it is, which is an interstate highway here. We have an international audience, so we can't be
I was
too.
going to say, we're being very St. Louis specific right
we
now.
have an international audience, so we can't be too local. We have people on the Patreon who have never really lived here in any way long enough to understand the deep nuances of every block of the city like I do.
Yeah.
And that's not their fault. It's my burden. I'm the keeper of the keys.
You're saying international, though.
Yeah, sure.
Like, are we talking about other countries?
Absolutely.
What other countries?
God damn it.
If you're going to just throw that out there, you got to have it on command.
Literally. I do like that you're going into detail to find it. I would have just named some random.
Yeah.
Well, because I don't want to misspeak because like I also get metrics for like No Antics has a lot of listeners in the UK and Switzerland, and so I don't want to say like Jacob V Weekly has listeners there.
I would have just said Bangladesh.
Bangladesh this show is huge in the United Arab Emirates.
That would definitely be a surprise.
I'm not logged in to the Podbean app right now, so we're gonna move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Bangladesh mostly.
Yeah.
We're killing them in Bangladesh. And because we have a common love, and that's George Harrison. Me and the Bangladeshi people.
I didn't know that about them.
Yeah, they love George Harrison there. He did a concert for them once. They never really got over it.
I mean, okay, I have a question for you, very serious. How much of what you say in a day is just made up?
Okay. Can you Google George Harrison, Bangladesh?
Yeah.
Because that's the thing you do to my poor mother. She's so confused every single time she has a conversation with you because she doesn't know what's true and what's not.
Yes, definitely happened.
Did it?
Tell Keenan what happened. I don't want to be accused of
it.
anything.
Of benefit concerts organized by former Beatles guitarist George Harrison and Indian sitar player Ravi
Shankar.
Thank you.
R.I.P.
Well, fascinating.
Isn't Ravi Shankar Norah Jones's father? Our uncle or something?
Godfather?
Hold for that one.
Hold the line.
But it did not happen in Bangladesh.
No, I said for them.
I thought it was in. Keenan, what was your perception?
I thought it was in Bangladesh.
Yeah. Comment down below if you thought.
Sound off in the comments.
If you thought he said in.
I said for them.
You're getting your prepositions mixed up.
No, they brought everyone from Bangladesh to Madison Square Garden to see George Harrison.
Every single person.
Yeah, because he did the thing Concert for Bangladesh, which is why they called the thing after he died Concert for George, the tribute thing, which was like the precursor, I think, to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing that Prince did that you see all the time now on clips. Clipped up. Keenan...
Norah Jones is his daughter, though.
Norah Jones is Ravi Shankar's daughter?
Yes.
You got that one right.
That's 2-0, baby.
Nice.
Well, I'm going to give you 1.5 because of that preposition mix-up.
Okay, you guys mixed up my preposition. This is what the preposition mix-up was.
Roll it back.
Yeah, so I think a huge part of the thing that you and I talk about, Keenan, that I love is our perspective on our own like relationship and experience, like growing up and stuff. Mm-hmm. That like growing up, we would have never thought that we would have jobs that were related to the thing we went to college for, and we would get married to somebody and have like a home, and like we never thought we were going to get to do any of that stuff.
No, we didn't.
Separately, even as children. I mean, I was like that. Those were my life goals. because I thought that was as far as I was like ever going to be able to get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And tell me about that.
Well, it was weird achieving those goals, I think, more than, I mean, maybe I'm starting at the end there, but it was weird achieving them because then it's like, what do you do next?
Yeah. That's the thing. People don't ever tell you that, like, especially in like a holistic, like really mainstream way, like people get bored of talking about, okay, so once you're married and once you own a home, these are the things you can look forward to, and these are also the things to look out for and to plan for and to, you know, be prepared to handle and whatnot. And so we both, especially because it paired with right after COVID.
Yeah, or during, really.
Right. We got married and then we bought a house, and then COVID happened 3 months later. And then, so we were quarantined in the house, and I quit drinking alcohol for the first time for any extended period of time, really.
Well,
And
what is it, 4 years now?
Yeah.
4.5?
Yeah, 4.5.
Yeah.
It'll be 5 in March. And then, not that I'm counting. And
I'm thankful for every day.
yeah, me too. And but the experience there was like, oh, I don't need to drink like that anymore. Because like the first weekend in quarantine, I drank like all the booze in the house. And
Yeah,
I made myself very sick.
Yeah.
I just didn't feel good at all for like 4 days. Like even if the world had been open, I couldn't have done anything.
No.
And I was just like, oh, wait a minute. Having that extended period of time to be that hungover and not be forced back out into the cycle of like go to work, then get drunk, and then go to sleep, and then try to go to work again. I was like, wait a minute, maybe I don't need to do that anymore, because I was doing that because I was so scared that I was never going to be able to prove my value by achieving those very normal things that people set out to achieve.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of that was you being so patient up until and then throughout that process of, you know, you kind of gave me a lot of space to figure that out.
Well, and I'd kind of gone through my own thing with, you know, I was taking a medicine that I couldn't drink with. So I'd already kind of gone through my whole, you know, disconnecting myself from drinking every weekend.
Yeah,
and doing
the
things
habit
like
of
that.
it. Yeah.
So, yeah, and so when you were going through it, I could relate, but I also was like, this needs to happen because you were going to kill yourself.
Yeah.
Not to be dramatic, but
No, but I mean, just physically, it also felt like that. Like
Yeah.
that last week hungover like that. Like I was just like, physically, my body is telling me, chill out.
But then we had to completely kind of figure out who we were and what we were going to do from then on, because before then, you know, we were very much, you know, we would go out every Saturday. We would, you know, and then the
We
whole
would get
world
mad
shut
that
down. And
restaurants wouldn't open at 10 for us to have lunch at 10 so we could start drinking at 11. We had that problem on your birthday one year. Like we couldn't eat early enough
we went to Olympia. We ended up going to Olympia.
because I think they opened at like 10:45 or something. They opened a little earlier, and we were like, we have to start eating immediately because we've already started drinking.
I was going to say, we started taking shots in my house.
Yeah, I think tropical liqueurs contributed a great deal to me realizing that, oh, alcohol's a problem, not a solution.
Yeah, your first time having Trops when we went to Colombia to visit my cousin was definitely an experience. Because they have one. I mean, if you're familiar with Trops, they have something called the Silver Bullet, which is Everclear and lemonade, essentially.
Oh my God.
And I told him, it's like, I always mix a little Silver Bullet in with something else.
Yeah.
But you never get a full extra large Silver Bullet. Well, he was like, bet. And so he did. And then he drank the whole thing while we were still at Trops. Then he's like, I'm not done yet. Grabs another extra large Silver Bullet. We leave Trops with it. Later on, he is sitting at the kitchen table, my cousin's house, eyes like blinking and crossing, and he's just kind of swaying. And he's sitting down.
Yeah.
So you didn't know how to handle Trops from the very beginning.
Yeah, and then they opened one here in Soulard, and we would go, and even when they stopped letting you leave with it, we would sneak it out and like stuff like that. And so we would go. They would open at 11, and so we would go there before we went to like something else, a family barbecue or somebody's something. And so we would show up with like Lil Wayne. We'd show up with big styrofoam, unlabeled styrofoam cups, and then would be like awkwardly fucked up. I remember one time you were blackout drunk helping my grandmother make something in the kitchen.
I know, I remember. I was helping her cut bread.
and And then fucking, it was bread?
It was bread.
She put you in charge of cutting bread.
Cutting bread. And I'm sitting there. I have my extra large drops. And I'm like, I am way too drunk.
I knew Keenan was hammered because she looked so happy. And she went up to my grandmother in a big house full of my family and said, can I help with anything? And I said, Keenan's gone. We got to get her out of here. There's no way my wife would do that in her right mind. She's full of demons.
I'm full of demons.
At the moment, you were full of demons.
I feel like I was very free of my demons. They were waiting in the side.
Yeah.
You know, I was going to think about the bread cutting later and be like,
yeah.
Should I have been cutting bread? No.
We also, I think, spent that time building a place where we could cope with our anxiety and kind of recover and restore ourselves separate from having to get blackout drunk.
Right.
We couldn't really do that when we lived in a house that was so much smaller, or when we had less control over our, immediate kind of surroundings. So I think that really helped.
Having our own home.
Yeah.
We were very lucky.
Yeah. My God.
We just kept filling it with dogs.
Yeah, dogs, and I still have the 2 cats. I got to get cat litter on the way home. I'm so glad you said something. I think I'm going to get a sarcastic amount of cat litter on the way home.
Maybe. I mean, they need it. They're big cats.
So, serendipitously, today we also had an appointment on the anniversary of our first date where we got to do... Well, what do you want? I guess you want me to say things?
This is your show, man.
So it's finally, officially in a place where we could officially announce we are expecting.
We are. They just let anyone have a baby.
They just let anybody have a fucking baby out here.
Sitting here talking about our drinking days. And,
which are long behind us, and we've made room in our life for a precious infant.
I know. It's wild. Do February 17th.
Yeah, at the latest.
At the latest.
Yeah. Could come anywhere, any couple of weeks before that. If it's getting too big, we don't have to go into too much detail about any aspect of anything really necessarily, but it's
been a journey.
It's been such a journey.
Yeah, because we decided that we wanted to start a family a while ago. This wasn't just something that this wasn't a surprise.
Yeah, and this is a big part of and the reason we've had to kind of just build up to a point where we could officially announce it all of the sudden is because we had to kind of wait until you get to the point where you can collect enough data and you know that there's a real healthy functioning baby in there. And that's not just because we're, overly paranoid. I mean, this is a journey that we thought we were going to take over a year ago.
2 years.
Was it that long? Mm-hmm. And then, and we never made it as far in the process as we are now. And so, our kind of reluctance or hesitation to be more open about it, I think, was in part because of that, because we've both had so much anxiety about that. And this is, alluding to something we were talking about a minute ago, that there's things that adults don't teach you to prepare for. And one of those things for us we learned is that, we've never heard people having meaningful discussions about how to handle what's the preferred nomenclature?
Which aspect of it? I mean, the infertility aspect of it, or the miscarriage?
The loss, yeah,
the loss of it. Yeah, I mean, they don't really, because I think so many people go through it and not very many people talk about it because it's a very complicated, you go through a lot of very complicated emotions. Well, yeah, of course
it's obviously a bummer. So people are going to resist digging too deep into anything that they feel like, that's a bummer. You know what I mean? And, but it's really a disservice because you don't really prepare people for how to live through that.
Yeah, well, so, I mean, we started our journey back in, beginning of 2022, and, we didn't really have anything happen for the first year, and it wasn't until I was like, okay, maybe we need to go see somebody for, fertility issues, that we got our first positive pregnancy test. And it was a rough time just in general. I mean, there had been a couple deaths in the family. It was just a really rough time, and then... we miscarried at around 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And we'd already told so many people, so it wasn't... Yeah,
because it'd been so long coming.
Yeah, we were like, it finally happened. The hard part's over.
So we told some of our parents, And then they told some of their siblings at that time, and in a way that, you know, they knew it was way too early to really tell people, but we had already told too many people for how early and unsure we were in the process of that time.
Yeah. And so, you know, I mean, it brought up a lot for us. I think it also brought up, you know, things that we had about, you know, like our place in the universe and what we think about life and, you know, all the, you know, from a political standpoint, everything that's going on. I think it made us just kind of think through some things in a way that we hadn't before.
Yeah, and to really reaffirm that, oh, actually, we did definitely want a successful pregnancy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like for the very first time you get a pregnancy test until whatever the next part is, you're just like really unsure the very first time, I think. And then in our case, at least in my experience, and that, you know, when that ended up not being viable and not coming to fruition, that the experience was, oh, I definitely still stand by that decision to try. You know what I mean? Like, you figure out that you definitely still, you reaffirm, for me, it reaffirmed that goal that, you know, if we get that opportunity again, it's going to be abundantly welcome.
Yeah.
That's what's weird for me in talking to people about this, is that in my family, traditionally, you have kids when you start having kids. And then when you have too many of them, you kind of stop having kids. And then, you know, you're like 25 and you have a bunch of kids already. I'm 33. I told my Aunt Cindy when she got pregnant the first time that you're too old. And she was like 28.
Well, there's definitely that sense of you're getting too old to have kids. I mean, I don't know that. I mean, men definitely don't feel that like women do. But yeah, it's definitely. I was looking at the clock and I was like, okay, maybe if we want to start a family, maybe starting at 31 is probably a good place to. Yeah. You know, before it's a geriatric pregnancy.
Yeah, which is 35.
Yeah.
So apparently, legally, they call that a geriatric.
I think
pregnancy.
medically. Maybe
medically is the word.
Maybe not legally.
In the court of law. 35 is a geriatric pregnancy. So that was a big part of us. We talked about this months ago, about you coming on the show. Actually, even probably longer than that, even before we had a new positive pregnancy test and this whole journey we've been on recently. We talked about wanting to talk about that part of that experience, and that one, you know, if it's something that you've experienced or that you've worried about, look into how common it is.
Yeah.
Because a miscarriage is really, really, really hard, but also way more common than people talk about. And if people knew how common it was, you could connect with somebody who's experienced what you're experiencing in a way that could be meaningful, because it's a gap in our mainstream culture.
Well, I think it also because it was so early. You know, I felt so conflicted when I was going through those just feelings of profound loss, because it's like, it's 10 weeks, you know, that's not very far along, but it felt like, you know.
It challenged that for me. It felt like what?
Oh, no, you go ahead.
That I do not want everyone in the comments to say I was talking over you this whole time. I'm already probably guilty of it. That, because they'll tell me to my face. They'll say, you were talking over your wife in the pod. And, but that...
So what were you going to say?
I don't remember.
I was saying, you know, so at 10 weeks, you know, and that, I mean, that loss devastated me.
Me too.
So, and I know it devastated you too. And so I, you know, one of the things and I felt so weird because everyone else that I had talked to, some of the people at least, they were like, oh, like, you know, you weren't very far along.
And that's a natural instinct for somebody to try to talk you out of being as devastated as you are in any case. A breakup or losing a job or anything. Someone's always going to try to talk you out of how upset you should be, because they're trying to be helpful, and that's a natural reflex. It's not intended, I don't think, to be insensitive, though it does kind of feel that way.
Yeah.
When someone's trying to say, oh, it wasn't even real yet, you're fine. You know what I mean?
Like, it felt real.
If, I don't know, like, it felt real. If it had just kept cooking in there, it would really feel real in a minute. And then I think we have to mention this, because for people like us, it's got to be challenging politically.
Yeah.
We would both identify as pro-choice.
Oh, absolutely. And I still am.
Absolutely.
To this day. Yeah.
Absolutely. But to try to figure out how to feel about being upset about a loss of a pregnancy at 10 weeks, and then also trying to figure out like where that fits in your like your own political beliefs about, you know, right to choose and different forms of treatment and different time frames of that stuff. It was like, okay, so I'm not saying that a pregnancy should not, under any circumstances, be terminated, especially in a medically, you know, necessary situation or a tragedy or some kind of a criminal aspect.
Yeah, in any sort of aspect.
But
yeah.
it still very much feels like you're losing a baby when you have a miscarriage at 10 weeks. You know what I mean? It still very much feels like that there was a potential for an identity and a real change to our lives that would have taken place sooner than it is now.
But I mean, and
I think people, if someone's going through this on their own and they're like ideologically similar to us, I think they would really struggle with that. They really struggle. Why am I so sad if I've been saying my whole life I don't even believe it really counts yet that early in the process?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's totally okay to feel and believe both of those things.
Well, when we left the ultrasound where they said that there was, you know, no heartbeat, that this was not viable, I think we had that conversation in the car.
Yeah.
When we were driving home. There was this exact conversation. It's like, you know, was it real yet? You know, what do I believe in anymore? But I think what reaffirmed it for me was just this, not the terror, that's dramatic, but the fear I had with the whole process of miscarrying too. Like even on they did a pathology report after I had miscarried, and there was like no further investigation required was written on this report. And it just completely floored me. I'm like, there are some people that don't see that. You know, there are some people that have to be, you know, poked and prodded more. They're going through this devastating loss. And, you know, they're investigated more. It's just cruel.
Yeah. I mean, and the shift in the vibes amongst like medical professionals when you're pregnant and then when you're not. You know what I mean?
That's actually it was it was terrible at the time, but it's kind of funny looking back on it. How she went from calling me mama to girlfriend, like in that same appointment. I was like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, crazy. And she's a sweet lady, but
she's a very sweet lady.
My God. And so coming into now, we had all this anxiety about we don't want to relive any of that stuff.
Yeah.
However, we kind of got a redemption arc in there with that same place because we had to do our first appointment or two at the place where we had experienced the loss before. And they promptly told us we were too fat for them and we had to move. And so we're at a different hospital now. Isn't that what happened?
Yeah, essentially.
That's what happened. And
that's fine.
Medically, though. They didn't say that legally. They said it medically. And so now we really love our situation, our arrangement of care and our new doctors and the whole system that we're a part of now has actually been really amazing for us in the past few months. But we got to have that closure. We got to go there, and this is where the bad stuff happened. But they're saying this time everything's good, and we're going to send you to an even nicer place.
Yeah,
and
baby's been perfect. Yeah. I've been the wreck.
Oh my God. I don't even know what to say about that because I love you so dearly.
Yeah, I've already managed to squeeze in an overnight hospital stay.
Yeah, yeah, and.
Just keeping you on your toes.
Just, can we just talk about if you're going to put a thermostat in a hospital room, let it work. Otherwise, just don't put it in there. Don't put a placebo thermostat in my beautiful, sensitive wife's hospital room. I'm in there sweating and I'm cramming buttons and nothing is changing about my experience. It's cruel.
My favorite thing about that room was the teeny tiny little fan on the ceiling that every single time you turned it on, it wasn't even over the patient.
The bulb, like the pendant where the chains would feed into, right at the base of the ceiling fan. I think had a greater wingspan than the blades of the fan.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? It was a real chode of a ceiling fan, a very petite ceiling fan. And so, but officially today, right? Everything that you need is kind of dialed in by your medical team. And we've been able to really kind of celebrate and get excited and scared, of course, and whatnot in a way that we just didn't even know was going to be possible. But it's, you know, and I don't want to be, there's a level of, this is the other thing too, is there's a level of privacy and mystery that I think is totally okay for us to maintain about our personal life.
Yeah.
However, we were kind of given permission to share as much as we've shared, I think. And that, because we're both excited.
We're both very excited.
And we have no reason not to be.
It's a very exciting time.
It's so exciting.
Yeah.
And let's reflect on, while we have time, telling our various peoples to the, I mean, what?
I think your dad's reaction was my favorite.
That's so great. Because he really had no idea. Can you tell me about how you witnessed it? Because I had to be facilitating it.
Yeah, so we went over to their house. They, where do they live now?
It's an undisclosed southwestern location.
Anyway.
From here, southwestern from here.
Let me just dox your father real quick. So we went there.
It's literally, there's not a high enough population there for me to tell you the name of the municipality, because somebody that looks kind of like me will stand out like a sore thumb in a population of, that whole thing.
So you keep me in check. See, I say stupid things if I don't have time to think about it. But anyway, so we went there and we were actually delivering under the guise of delivering a guitar to him.
Yeah, he's also going to, learn to play some cowboy chords on an acoustic guitar because he's got a beautiful property he can sit out and kind of do that on. He's less mobile than he used to be. He's fine, but, he liked the idea, and I found a perfect Fender acoustic electric with a tuner built in, and it came with a hard case, so he really doesn't need anything.
Yeah.
And so we were doing that, delivering that.
And so we'd also, did we get an ultrasound that same day or maybe a couple days earlier? I can't remember.
It was like that week, or it was probably a couple days before.
Yeah, so we brought that with us. And so you went and you grabbed the guitar from him.
Oh yeah, I was going to show him something.
And
show him something,
and then you gave him the ultrasound photos, and he's like, did he essentially just say, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah. He said, "What is this about?" Because he had no idea. I just kind of dropped it on him.
Yeah.
And because it was with him, that's really the best way.
Yeah.
Is to really, just like a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Just jump right out of the cake.
Well, it just warmed my heart just to see how excited he was, and he was like giddy excited, and not that all of our parents weren't. I mean, your mom, she had to pull over on the side of the highway because you just sent her an ultrasound picture over a text message.
And it was hard because some people hadn't known about our previous experience. So it was just good news, and then we had to give them that, well, there was bad news once upon a time.
Yeah.
Other people, like my mom, knew both times, and so her reaction was different, because I couldn't wait to tell her in the way that I don't see her enough, really.
No,
that that I couldn't really wait however multiples of days it would be, and so I had to risk just telling her while she was driving on the clock at work, and and she knew how kind of emotional and kind of whatnot of a process it had been. Your parents are married, so we got to tell them together in person.
Yeah. Well, no, my mom
had to tell your dad.
My mom told my dad because she sniffed it out, because I wasn't going to tell them, because they had been very devastated by the first loss too.
Yeah.
And so they wanted, my mom's like, she wanted us to wait a little bit longer before we told them. But she kind of guessed it.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Especially like I mentioned, we, for example, we are known to overorder sushi, and then in pregnancy status, you have no sushi allotment in your quota or whatever. So things like that started emerging to people that we're close with very quickly. Things like no alcohol, not even the aperitif as an appetizer at John's restaurant. And then no, what else did you not have that day that was, you weren't drinking, but something else your aunt guessed was?
Oh, I had a craving for mole.
Oh, yeah, she had cravings and she wasn't drinking alcohol. So her aunt was like, you're knocked up.
Yeah.
You got to be knocked up. There's no way around it.
She asked us at the table and I was like,
and I'm like, hey, I'm like, hey, whoa, I got a secret baby here. Will you chill out? But it's also just, again, because of all of that stuff, it's been,
I love that. But I also love it just on my aunt for a second. She was also the first one to send us a little shirt for the baby. And little LA Dodger shirt because she's like, I gotta, stake my territory.
Yeah, because she's lifelong LA. It's LA or abroad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bangladesh.
She actually lived in Bangladesh for 47 years.
Oh my God! Did she know George Harrison? I heard he was
she put that whole thing together. George Harrison had never heard of Bangladesh, and she said, "George, have you heard about what's going on in Bangladesh?" And he said, "No, Karen. Tell me about Bangladesh." Her name is Karen.
Yeah,
that's her real name. Shout out to Aunt Karen.
Yes.
She's a good one.
She's absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And a lady of the world. And so, but that's the thing that, like I mentioned, people don't prepare you for. People don't necessarily prepare you for having good news. Like there's been a theme on this show lately. I ask people what they're excited about or what they're looking forward to. And a lot of people who aren't as blessed as us or who are going through something or who have gone through something, it's hard for them to know what to look forward to. Because I don't think because if you're doing celebrations as a part of your routine, you're probably in a youth group. You know what I mean? There's this thing that like the evangelicals feel like they have the lock on joy or like positivity. And then, or anything motivational is like alt-right man's rights activists now for some reason. It's like, wait a minute, what about normal people just reminding people that, hey, it's okay to be excited about something and to have good news? Because my emotional response has been, I don't know how to handle being excited to tell my parents something.
Yeah.
And there's no but I need this. And it's just, hey, guess what? Pure positivity.
Yeah.
I'm happily married, and we're both gainfully employed, and this economy's fucked up. We should be fine.
Yeah,
it's the economy's fault, so. And then we're having a baby on purpose. Mm-hmm. It's just weird to know how to tell people that.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've been doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, I'm more so talking about how I feel about it. It's weird to know how to feel about.
Well, because you don't like to accept the fact that things might be going right.
It doesn't make any sense to me because I was raised to believe that I am a sinner and everything is my fault. And if I was just a better child of God, the world would be at peace.
Oh, Lord.
And that's the indoctrination that was bestowed upon me. I didn't ask for it. I don't necessarily regret it either because I think it motivated me to try to be a measurably decent person and to try to make sure I'm objectively on the right side of history. But it also means I don't know how to feel when I get something that I deserve, like the reward of parenthood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like or soak it in type of way.
I think it's a lot of the reasons why people say, monogamy is so challenging or monogamy is declining in our culture is because I think we don't tell people how, hey, maybe it's okay to not be perfect and then to try to work through that and maintain a relationship with another person at the same time. You and I are way more secure and level-headed than we were when we got married, or certainly 10 years ago when we first started dating.
Well, we've gone through a lot of therapy. And I think that's not like even together. It's just like separately.
No, not together at all. I'm open to it.
Yeah.
We could do that. We should just do it here, though.
Like confidence.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And because that was the thing. I think we had I'm speaking for you because we've talked about it, and you can correct me if anything I say doesn't represent you.
I will.
And I hope, I know that you will. And that I had decided, okay, I am not the perfect specimen on the planet, but I am conscious in my own body. And so I'm going to invest some time and energy and resources into trying to just feel a little bit better every day. And I did that for years off and on in therapy. And because I kept just saying, okay, I'm going to I'm going to stay on the planet, and I'm going to go ahead and try to work through some of these problems. I actually got to work through some of my problems. Some people, for various reasons, don't even maybe have the privilege to sit down and take an hour out of their cycle to check in with their problems.
Yeah.
Much less insurance and transportation and schedule availability. You know, if I was a single parent at 19 working 2 jobs, I wouldn't have time for therapy. Even if it was free, I wouldn't have physical time.
Right.
We're very lucky and privileged in that sense.
And so we decided to use that privilege to try to, you know, better ourselves in some way, because I think we also thought other people were going to be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I think I graduated high school, for example, thinking all these people are going to try to be a better person than they are today, tomorrow.
I don't know that I necessarily thought that, but I could see why you might have thought
Definitely 8th grade graduation. I thought these kids are trying to. Kindergarten graduation, though, I don't even remember going to. I don't think I was invited to the end of, because that's when I got kicked out.
I was going to say, you got kicked out.
Yeah. Well, they let me finish the year, I think.
Did they?
Yeah.
They just asked you not to come back.
Right. They just strongly insisted I do anything else. That was the same thing I heard from the Afton Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts. They were like, maybe
Cub Scouts isn't for
because we were
you.
moving. They were like, maybe do something else when you get there.
Maybe play an instrument.
Maybe get him a piano or something. That boy, strange.
Give that boy a microphone. He's got a lot of energy to get out.
Give that boy a microphone and a soundproof box. So good. So we got all that out of the way. Keenan, what are we going to do about Palestine?
You know,
I'm joking.
Yeah.
You do not have to comment on that. You do not have to comment.
we're not going to comment on Palestine.
I do not need you specifically to comment on Palestine. I wouldn't do that to you. So just in general,
We got real deep right there.
we did, but I think it's important. I think
Yeah.
because we're so deep
So too deep.
in love.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lucius, I'm glad you caught on to that.
Absolutely.
Before Keenan totaled her Corolla, she had the Too Deep Make America Too Deep bumper sticker on
I
there,
did.
and she got sideways looks at all the time. People were like, "Is that a Trump? That's not a Trump sticker." Especially people that would then see her, because
Yeah.
like a girl in a Toyota with purple hair doesn't usually pick up the Trump sticker. I'm not saying she shouldn't or couldn't.
Yeah.
Just doesn't usually.
Well, it confused some people at my place of employment for a while there.
Yeah.
Because
I-
some of them are of that persuasion.
Yeah.
But then, but no, for a fact, she must not be.
Yeah.
And so then they see just that iconography on that sticker.
I can't believe that Trump has been around for
Do you know how
so
long ago that was?
That's like what?
Lucius, that was 8 years ago.
8 years ago?
That
Yeah.
was 16.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Make America
Feels like a
Too Deep.
lifetime.
Maybe I'll do another batch of those and we could sell them on the page.
Well, because it was okay to make that joke at the time because everyone still thought of it
It was
as
so
a joke.
absurd. We knew Hillary
yeah, that
Clinton was
was-
going to be president.
Yeah.
This is nothing but a funny meme. This whole political campaign is a meme, and so we're going to make America blank anything you want. Right?
Yeah.
Again, or still, I saw one in a leather store in Jerome, Arizona the other day that said, "Take America back."
Oh yeah, that's
Woof.
that's the new
the new
slogan.
one.
Yeah.
Take
That was
'em-
on that T-shirt we saw.
That's the new official slogan.
Yeah.
So they had official Trump merch at the leather store in Jerome.
And who has it? Who has it? I want to know.
Who has it now?
Because it's not the opposition.
I don't think I'm allowed to tell you who they would say has it now.
Yeah.
This camera's going to last longer than the other one because of the SD card, so I'm going to move our angle here just so we don't
Alright.
lose
Are we
any-
taking it back from P. Diddy?
Yeah, right now P. Diddy's got the country, and well, that's what's so funny about everything that's going on everywhere in the world all at once is that
you distracted yourself.
I know I'm doing too much at once. That's the thing that's
P. Diddy.
when Trump wasn't the president yet, we had a thing called Pizzagate, where we thought famous people had sexual slaves in the basement of a pizza restaurant. Right? Now, at the time, before Trump won the election, that was just all QAnon Reddit malarkey. But now 8 years later, that guy is now the former president. Those hats were in the White House for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And now P. Diddy is a sex monster.
Are we surprised?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. And I believe anything they want to say about Clive Davis turned him into that, because I remember Clive Davis bragging about having sex with Janis Joplin before she would sign a record deal with him, and made it seem like that was her idea. But also, she's been dead for 100 years.
At least.
And he's not dead yet. And so it would be so easy. Nobody that would be an advocate for Janis Joplin who knew her in her life is still alive to go on VH1 Classic and say, Clive Davis, actually, that was his idea. And it was predatory and bad. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's, I don't know, the world.
Do you keep up with any of the Jaguar Wright stuff?
No.
I love it.
What is that?
So that's the lady that she was a singer, and she sang on some Jay-Z stuff. And she's been doing the blue couch thing where she goes and she said, but my favorite thing now is people are doing their impression of her, and they'll say things like, how come no one ever asks why Oprah was eating all them babies like cereal? No one ever asked you why Quincy Jones, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I have seen those clips on TikTok. Yeah.
Because she also apparently, if you only listen to her, like Oprah is like on her way to jail, which makes me feel like I don't know what to believe, because either they're arresting Oprah or that lady is crazy. And I don't want her to be crazy, because she was complaining about Diddy for years, and now they got him, and it looks bad.
Looks real bad.
There's a new trend on YouTube where when there's a big press conference specifically about Diddy, somebody will, like a news channel's YouTube page, will play just the 30-minute press conference, but on a loop, on a live thing. So you think it's happening right now, but it happened this morning, but they're looping it so that they're your first place to get it or whatever. So I watched that most recent press conference about P. Diddy like 100 times in a row. Like I just left it on. It was maybe 18 minutes of 4 different people giving their perspective on the case and what they're doing on it. And I watched that same 18 minutes over and over and over again.
On accident?
No.
Oh, like on purpose?
No. Well, the first time, maybe it was on accident. Maybe the first time it repeats, I'm like, didn't he say this already? But then I'm like, I'm just gleaning all the details.
Yeah.
And it's hellacious. It's salacious.
Baby oil.
I'm
Baby
really
oil.
I'm maybe not concerned. I don't know. But I guess I can't wait to see more facts and things about Jay-Z. You know what
she worked really closely with Jay-Z, and she seems to think that like Jay-Z and P. Diddy are kind of more like equals in their depravity.
Yeah.
But I thought she was saying that now that Diddy's out of the way, that Jay-Z is going to take the mantle.
Right. Which I think Diddy was way more likely of a candidate for mantle taking than Jay-Z. I don't know that Jay-Z has the. I don't know Jay-Z. Can I say that, guys? People watching at home, I don't know.
I don't know Jay-Z.
I don't know Jay-Z either.
Keenan, do you know Jay-Z?
Jay-Z doesn't know me. Also.
Can we talk about the meme that went around that Sia tweeted something really weird one time, and if you took the first letter of every word, it spelled out Beyonce kidnapped me.
Interesting.
And so there's been a conspiracy theory for like 3 or 4 years now that Beyonce had Sia chained up in her own basement writing songs for Beyonce.
That's crazy because that's like unfathomable that would even happen. But then also, I've never been in the position of power where I feel like I can do debaucherous acts and feel like I can get away with it also.
Right.
That is just
it's the feeling like you're going to get away because they get away with it for decades.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, okay, let's say that Jay-Z is on the same level as P. Diddy, and we know that Beyonce and Jay-Z have had a relationship that's tumultuous as well. And she built a vision on staying with him through a bunch of issues as well, like with sleeping with other girls maybe, or whatever it may be. She stuck with him.
That's the other thing. It's never just girls.
Yeah.
You mean Jay-Z's Stuppen? Oh, yeah. Well, that's what they keep on saying. On
That's
all
why
the
I said it.
TikToks. Yeah.
And that's what was weird about the first press conference about the Diddy thing. The guy from New York, the DA from New York or whatever, was saying, he said, women, girls, and others.
And others.
Like who?
Who?
Boys, Damon. That's who.
Yeah. To have,
Grown men. Carl Winslow.
I
Yes.
saw Will Smith.
Will Smythe.
Smythe.
It's pronounced Smythe. I don't know why everyone calls him Smith all the time. He doesn't like it.
You know personally.
It's
he
Willie
he told
Smythe.
you that?
Yeah, that's because he's from Philadelphia.
Smythe.
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 And so we got to get. So Keenan's having a baby. Diddy's in jail.
Both on the same level there.
That's
you know?
those are the two headlines this
Scandal.
week. It's if you go on Yahoo News right now, it's Keenan and Diddy, not together, two separate articles, but they're trying to optimize the space on the webpage.
And Urban Chestnut's closing.
And Urban Chestnut's closing, and that's on YahooNews.gov.
And apparently some sort of Bird and Barrel operation is opening up again.
We've been waiting for years.
Yeah.
Bird and Barrel closed after COVID. I think it's in Emos now. And then they were supposed to open in the old Bobby's place on Hampton, and that never happened. So, but maybe now that the restaurant industry is as expensive as it's ever been, maybe now's the time that we bring the chicken back. It's what the kids need. Shout out to Bird and Barrel. We played a Jacob V and the Yes Men show at Foo Bar one time. We got bumped to last because we didn't show up for 5 o'clock load in. So, but we had the guy from Bird and Barrel come out. He's a friend of my attorney, Alfred Ludwig, who's been on the show. And dressed as a chicken and hand out bags of, like sandwich bags of chicken tenders to nuggets, the nugs, the Bird and Barrel signature chicken nugs, which are, I think, thigh meat, which is a superior.
Well, no, you can get the dark nugs. Or you can
I always get the dark nugs,
Yeah.
which is whole thigh chopped into nugget portions,
I don't know, Bird and Barrel's special chicken.
wherever it is.
Yeah.
Are you saying it's coming back? Or
It's coming back.
Oh, wow.
It's supposed to be coming
It's supposed to be
back.
coming back, but they also closed the Gotham Diner, which is in the old City Diner spot
Yeah.
over on South Grand. They, the Uncle Bill's on Kings Highway is closing next week. I almost choked to death in there as a child. My Aunt Cindy gave me the Heimlich maneuver, and I puked bacon all over that carpet in there, and that's closing. I got to have breakfast there one evening with Dylan Brady from 100 Gex.
Name drop.
Name drop.
Name drop.
Come on the show, Dylan. Everyone loves you. And John blew a coffee creamer up in his own face.
My brother.
And so, you know, it's just if you are at home cooking something, there's a lot of real estate. If you want to open your own little brick and mortar spot, cook some stuff. I found a salad in the hood the other day that was wonderful.
Where was it from?
A place called Healthy Habits. I work in an area where there's no Jimmy John's for miles. There's no Quick Trip. There's no Bread Co. There's no like normal things that you might want for lunch. And I found a place called Healthy Habits up there, and I had their chicken, strawberry, walnut feta salad or whatever. It had all that stuff and some more on it, and it was absolutely lovely. And it was like $12.
Sounds divine.
It was so good. Big, beautiful, fresh salad. I could tell I'm getting older because if I can get like fresh produce like that, I'm like, ooh, spinach, bean sprouts, a strawberry. A fresh strawberry is like now I understand why it was like the centerpiece of like especially dessert cuisine for so many centuries. For millions of years, people have been garnishing their desserts with strawberries.
Millions?
Yeah, they found strawberries in the ashes of that. What's the place? Pompeii.
Pompeii.
Have people been, or have humans been around for millions of years?
I have no idea.
No.
Thousands.
Thousands, yeah.
Thousands.
Well,
I think maybe hundreds of thousands, but I don't know. Definitely not millions.
I mean,
But if it's hundreds of thousands, it's like 100. You know, I'm gonna look it up. But I love watching that type of those documentaries. They fall asleep and shit. Like the one on Netflix with Morgan Freeman, Life on This Planet. I think.
oh
That
yeah,
one's so good because it goes right from the beginning, and it really trips you out too.
Our dog Oswald loves those documentaries.
yeah.
His favorite thing.
He loves Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
He doesn't like horses though.
Approximately 200,000 years.
Okay.
So for 200,000 years, people have been garnishing their desserts with strawberries. And I never really got it as a kid because I was like, what if you just had like fucking Gushers or something or Fruity Pebbles? But now, as a nuanced, mature man with a mostly developed brain by now, just statistically, not that I feel developed at all, that now I understand, oh, a beautiful, fresh piece of fruit on a shortbread cookie or something. Oh!
Hopefully our child inherits that from you because I've got the palate of a toddler.
Yeah, you like food that comes out of a machine.
Yeah.
You like food that, even if it's heated up some way, before that it's shaped in a mechanism.
Like, here's the thing. I will get something fancy if we go out to a restaurant or something like that.
Yeah.
But just on the daily, I eat like a toddler.
Yeah, if she's feeding herself, it's a lot of mechanically separated ingredients, refined,
It's, grill
bleached, enriched.
Which is not good.
Great, yeah, it's girl dinner.
Yeah,
But it's also like,
Toddler girl.
yeah.
I like a good cheese and cracker. You know.
Yeah, it's Lunchable.
Sure.
It's giving Lunchable.
It's giving Lunchable. If a Lunchable was a whole fridge, that would be Keenan's like personal fridge.
Yeah.
And which I love and support and I'm fine with. And I think that's also been a problem. You got to be careful about this, kids. Do you ever find that maybe I'm a little too supportive?
Yeah.
And how does that manifest itself?
I kind of just do what I want.
And only what you want,
Yeah.
exclusively.
Well, no, not exclusively. If I only did what I want, I would never do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
But yeah.
But that's also going to be a problem because we're going to have a child. And if our child is anything like you and I respond that same way.
Well, I'm gonna have. We talked about this. I'm gonna have to be the bad cop.
Yeah, I need
And
you to be bad cop.
I've come to that conclusion.
I need you to start laying down the law immediately because that kid was already like kind of acting up in there today. Like the kid was being really resistant to the scan in a way that was kind of not frustrating to anybody there, but you know, if their behavior represents me as their father at all, it's embarrassing. You know, I mean, pose for the photo. It's officially picture day.
I was gonna say the movement makes me think of you, but the fact that they're not posing for the photos does not make me.
That's
think
not
of you.
me. I'd be. They don't know about photos yet.
That's
There's
true.
going to be so much to teach them.
They have your hand.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a horrifying picture of the baby's hand, and I gasped because, you know, you could see the lines on my big ferocious baby hand. Yeah. That's what it looked like. And Keenan was like, well, they're a baby. I'm like, I know, but I'm a man. And my genetic material led me to a place where I have a baby's hand as a man.
Yeah.
A pudgy little Pillsbury mitten.
Those that your mom called you at the bowling alley that one time, DJ Baby Hands. Yeah.
I've never thought of you of having baby hands in the first place. I need to come do like a side by side with you. They look regular to me.
My hands?
Look up close.
I'm gonna come over there.
Look at these flippers. Get in here. Guys, thank you for joining us on Jacob V Weekly. We want to remind you, as always, to check out Caddyshack of Hamel, Illinois. It's not that they're small. It's that they're proportioned and soft like a baby's. Look, my knuckles recede. Patreon.com/JacobV, JACOBVI.com. Lucius is wearing a No Antics shirt. You can order those online at noantics.bandcamp.com. You can buy music there. We get most of that money. Blind by Stereo has a vinyl record for sale. blindbystereo.bandcamp.com. Any chance we conceived this baby on tour?
Very slight chance.
Very slight chance. That'd be a good story.
It would be. I think it was in March though.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about
Yeah, we
conception.
don't.
Not everyone knows the story of their own conception like I do.
Yeah.
Next week on Jacob B Weekly, how I was conceived. I should get them both in. You know what? I should make them both meet me at the location where it happened. I should interview them about it.
We'll put on some White Snake.
Nobody asked for that.
It's like a parent. You're parent trapping them.
I'm going to parent trap them, but I'm not trying to get them back together. I'm trying to get them to answer for their
Oh, gotcha.
crimes. The suffering they put me through just by making me be here. Cat's out of the bag. I love you.
I love you too.
And I'm so grateful for you.
I'm grateful for you.
and I'm proud of you.
Oh, that's going too far.
I think you're brave.
Oh.
And I don't know. I'm kind of running out of steam.
All right. Hopefully I wasn't too boring.
No, not at all. I didn't really get your perspective on the trip to Sedona.
That's okay.
We covered it in great detail in the Sedona episode.
Yeah.
So we're good.
Yeah. Signing off.
Signing off. Sound off in the comments. Jacob V Weekly. We love you. Bye.